right? And the thing is like also like reading, Asada Shakur, right? These are things that normally like you wouldn't attribute to someone who plays golf, right? And there's normally like this perception of what they call like a WASP, right? White Anglo-Saxon Protestant, right? And even though I am Protestant, right? I am Christian, right? I'm not white, I'm not like Anglo-Saxon or anything. I'm black, right? So there's actually an article from 1984, right? Michael Dixon. He was a freelance writer for the New York Times, and it's called "On Being Black and Loving Golf," right? And what's so crazy is that this was written in 1984, but I want you to read the end, how he ends it. And he says, "As for me, my feelings about golf, the sport and the game continue to be mixed." Right? The sport's ruling powers profess an interest in seeing that golf continues to grow. You hear that now too, right? And how they plan to achieve that growth while continuing to maintain an exclusionary attitude towards certain sectors of society is a mystery. One that puzzles and angers me. In a way, I'd like to say forget it and never play again. That isn't likely because I've missed the game terribly. But if it did, golf would lose one of the best friends it never knew it had. Yeah. This is how he ended the article, right? And it still talks today, right? And this is 1984. I wasn't even born yet, right? So, sorry.
Kelly, you should have said that, Kelly.
Speak on, Kelly. Speak on.
7 carry the one. Like I'm from Brownsville, and I rep it like to the death of it, right? And so I actually have this that Brownsville house. This I actually got that. Don't ask me how I got it. I'm not gonna tell you, but that's like out on my balcony because I always keep that with me. Right? Wherever I go, I'm gonna remember I'm from Brownsville House, 308 7th Avenue, apartment 5G, Brooklyn, New York, 11212. Right? That's like my DNA, right? And growing up, I played football. I was, it was either football or basketball, and the exposure to golf wasn't even there. And like what I'm realizing now is a lot of it is about, the relatability. That's what it comes down to because I've done clinics with kids. I did a clinic at Harlem Children's Zone one time, and I said, yeah, we're gonna play golf, and one of the kids was like, he said to another kid, you don't want no smoke, and then I was like to myself, I didn't even teach you that, right? But that's good, right? Because that means that there's an interest. Right, and then also, like, I think what was very pivotal was me meeting a black coach, right? Just like how you said, the role of the professional is important. Yeah. And like what I want to talk about is Buddy Cooper. Yeah. Like this man was like, he was like, I was under his wing, right? And the thing is, like, he was a general manager, head professional at Freeway Golf Course in New Jersey, right? So it was the first 18-hole golf venue owned and operated by African Americans in the United States, right? So he could talk that talk, right? And he was a former director of instruction at the Bronx, Golf Center. And I met him at Marine Park when like I was volunteering with someone, right? And that's how like I learned. I was able to learn a lot of the black history that's associated, right? Because it was like that fight, like, I don't really, feel like I could like belong in the game, right? But then he was telling me about my history, and that relatability piece is what like really stuck, right? So actually after, he ended up passing away in 2018, right? Very influential dude, very influential. Like I went to the first tee. They have like an annual gathering, and I told the guy who heads it, Wendell Haskins. He used to be the Wendell Haskins. Yeah, so he used to be the chief diversity officer for the PGA, and what he did was that him and Buddy were really close. So you know when I got to meet him, Buddy had already passed away, and I told him, Buddy Cooper, like I studied under Buddy, right? And then he was just like, wow, that's crazy. Buddy was the one who told me about the event, right? And I wasn't able to go for 2 years until the third year I was able to go, and then I was able to speak with like Wendell Haskins. Mind you, this guy is like, it's like an exec, like he used to be an exec at like Def Jam. They were honoring Uncle Luke, and even just going there was so like pivotal because in the group behind me was the former president for the U.S. Tennis Association, right? Black woman, right?
Yep.
Julia Adams.
Yep.
Katrina, okay, yeah. I've seen like, pictures of her, with like Sloane Stevens and things like that. And then also when we were at the dinner, I was sitting at a table. To the left of me was, my friend Winston. He's also a part of All Access Golf. And to the left of him was the chief diversity officer for the NBA. Like sitting right there, and we're just, at a table, just, like hanging out, right? And I will never forget, like the day on the way to Buddy's like memorial, right? I get a call, and then, it was actually a golf coach who called me, right? His name is Randy Taylor, another black coach, right? And I was telling him, I'm on my way to, like honor Buddy and things like that. We spoke that whole car ride, and then after that, I went to go like get lessons from him. First time we were talking about like Colin Kaepernick and like what team would fit him. He was saying, maybe the Jets, and I was like, I don't think so because they have like Fireman Ed, and he was like, you know what I mean? Just things like that. So it was like,
their owner works for Trump.
Huh?
The owner of the Jets is an ambassador for Trump.
Oh shoot! That's not happening. So just being able to have that conversation. I'll go out. Out to the Bronx because I could connect with him, right? And also like he offered like we're gonna do like a raffle, right? And he has 1 hour instruction that he's giving away, and for the golfers there's also gonna be a Mizuno club fitting as well. So there will be like a raffle that's happening at the end of tonight. Now as far as the Black history. Like, how many people know about Dr. George Grant? Okay, cool. So anytime that somebody tells you that golf is a white sport, right? The first thing you do when you're playing golf, you tee off, right? And Dr. George Grant made the patent for the golf team, right? So we start off black, right? That's a fact. He was also the second graduate from Harvard Dental School, right? African American, right? Then there's Dewey Brown, right? Now Dewey Brown, he was the first like PGA professional, and he in 1947 he bought like the Cedar River golf course, right? But he was actually he became a professional in 1928. And then in 1934 was the PGA clause, right? And I mean, my theory is that the PGA clause still has its ramifications today. And what the PGA clause was basically a condition that the PGA of America had that said that the sport is only for Caucasian males, right? And still to this day, we say golf is a white man's sport.
Like this black caddies.
Huh? minus and the black caddies, they play a very important role, and even like John Shipping, right? First guy to compete in like a tournament, and the thing is that he would have won the tournament, but he had a blow up on the 13th hole, right? That was before they had like sand wedges, things like that. So he got caught into a trap, and then he scored an 11 on the hole, and from that he lost the tournament by 7 strokes. So that hole cost him the whole tournament. He would have been the first one to ever, win a golf tournament, right? And then also another thing is this, that he taught for a season in Brooklyn, right? In what is now called, the beach club, right? So like there's history even in New York as far as like golf is concerned. Now there's like Joseph Bartholomew, and what Joseph Bartholomew did was he constructed golf courses, right? But the thing is, he did play golf, but the thing is that because of his color, he was never allowed to play on the golf courses that he built. That's crazy, right? But this is also the times, right? Now, no excuse at all, right? But what happened is that while he built a golf course like by himself, right? Like that's amazing, right? And then he did it at night, right? Because of the fact that he didn't want people to know what he was up to. So the club that he was doing it for, they started, raising hell, and like he blocked off, the course, just like how they block off construction sites, and they started raising hell. They wanted to see, how the course was going, and like it's taking so long and things like that. And then when he showed it, the guy who was giving him the most hell was, he changed his mind, and he was just, he was like, oh shoot. And he was so surprised of, the amount of work that's been done that he was actually petitioning Joseph's bosses for a raise, right? That's how influential his work was, right? And there's Althea Gibson, right? A lot of people know, Althea Gibson because, she's like a tennis great. She was really the first, LPGA player. She was a top 50 money earner for 5 years, right? Now, also there's Anne Gregory. Now, I want you guys to look at the photo. Wow. Like, that's serious trophies, right?
My mother had trophies like that.
Nice.
Yeah, just saying right?
Right.
Just saying So she nearly won over 300 tournaments, right? The queen, they would call her the queen of Negro golf, right? And she didn't pick up a club until the 30s. That's crazy. That's real crazy, right? And then there's Pete Brown. Pete Brown was the first black player to ever win a PGA tournament. And then he played also on the UGA. So what the UGA is the United Golfers Association, and it was a tour for black people, right? Because the PGA clause existed during that time, and they weren't able to play on a lot of courses, so they would mostly play on municipal courses, and from that, that's how they had a nickname for it, which they call the Chitlin Circle, right? And he was a major player in the UGA tours. Now there's Charlie Sifford, right? Photo in itself speaks a lot, right? Obama honored him in 2014, and he was the first black golfer after the PGA. He broke that color barrier, right? And he had won twice on the PGA tour, but he won like 5 consecutive Negro National Negro Opens, right? And then I like, so this is one of the dudes I really like, James Black, right? And how many people like bet when they play golf? I know you do.
How many people what?
Bet when they play golf, right? So some people want to be coy, but like I had to pay up. Me and Lenny, we had to pay up. So I mean, it's no hard feelings, but we'll get you back. But so one of the things is that he so being that he was black, he knew this, right? He would go to golf courses and he would hustle. Like he would hustle the white people, right? And he made $4 million off of that. $4 million. And he was doing that with like white celebrity. Like they said that he was so bad that on the UGA like tournaments, if they knew he was playing, they would withdraw and be like, yo, he got it. And then they said that he was so good, right? That he would make you feel as if you had a chance to win, right? So you would start thinking to yourself, well, you know, if I didn't miss that putt on the 14th hole, you know, I could have had a chance. But he was just gaming, right? Like the dude had 33 hole-in-ones, 12, right? Were in tournament. How many people here have a hole-in-one? Oh, you do? How many? 6. What's your handicap? Oh, you don't count? Who else? 1? Yeah. 1. Hole-in-ones are rare. Like, and, yeah. That's a big deal. Like, that's a big hit. Yeah, I've witnessed one as well. Yeah, and I've only seen one happen, and that's when I was like, because I also ranger at a golf course, and like it happened right when I was going through like the cart path, and I was like, oh shoot, that's a hole-in-one. And then, like, that was 2 years ago. Like, it does not happen, right, often. Seriously, it does not happen often. And the dude had 33. That's a lot. Yeah, Tiger, right? He has 19, I think. 19. He had 33. Like, that's so, like, surreal. Now, here is, another golfer, like, that I like, Bill Spiller. And the thing about Bill Spiller, he was with it. Like, so he held up a tournament because they didn't let him play. He sat on the tee box and he was like, if I'm not playing, nobody's playing. And then he would also keep a gun with him, right? Just in case, because he was with, like, yo, he was gangster. So this is a picture. Right? Of like him. This is like the 1952 like Open, right? And what happened was that this is when he found out he couldn't play because of the PGA clause, right? So he's sitting out on his bench. This photo gets taken, and I feel it's so similar to how just how it is as far as there's so many people now who like want to play golf, and they're like, yo, I don't know what to do, right? And they're kind of like just sitting on the bench, just like looking, right? And I feel like it's so like just like relatable, even till today. And then there's Ted Rose, right? Now, when you see the picture, right, they nicknamed the dude Rags, right? Because like he was known to be like a flashy dresser, right? You can see that in the photo, right? He's pretty boy, but he was really good. Like he had like over 150. Over 150 UGA tournaments, right? And he was also very influential in the PGA clause being removed. Now the thing is that we discussed like Colin Kaepernick, as well. Now here's the thing that I find very interesting with Ted Rose. The PGA they came to him and was like, hey, we'll drop the lawsuit because he tried to sue the PGA. He was like, and they said, we'll drop the lawsuit I mean, if you can drop the lawsuit, we'll let you play, right? And then he was like, okay, you know, cool. And then this is where the thank you. This is where they like tricked him, right? And the whole idea of invitationals happened, right? So they'll have like so-and-so invitational. And basically, you have to be invited to play, right? And surprisingly enough, there were not many black people. If they were, right, weren't many black people who would get invited, right? And this is like the way I see it is sort of like I was talking with somebody, you know, who's a golf coach, you know, he is like you know, Caucasian, and you know, we were talking about Colin Kaepernick, and then he asked me, he was like, you know, why did he switch to workout location? And I was like, because he knew they were gonna set him up, no media, right? Right. And they want to have him sign, like, you know, papers. Basically, they'll be the one releasing the statement. Mm-hmm. It's similar. It's very similar to, you know, what's happening today. Mm-hmm. Now, there's Calvin P, right? And the thing that really resonates with you know, Calvin P with me is that not only was, you know, he was the 10th, he held the accuracy of. He was the most accurate on the PGA Tour for 10 years straight, right? And he won like I think it was 12 PGA tournaments. And here's the thing: he had a unique swing in which his arm, when he was 12, was like broken, right? And it broke in like, you know, 3 different places, so it never really, you know, fully healed. And his golf swing, it was very limited, right? Which makes for, you know, you being accurate, right? But the thing is that the way that he broke his arm, right, is that he was climbing up a cherry tree at his grandmother's house, right? And the relatability aspect, he was in Haiti. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm Haitian. Right? Like, I could be the next Calvin Pete out here.
There you go. Talk it.
Speak it. Yeah, I better, you know what I mean? Like, I got it in my blood, 1804. So, like, just knowing things like that is like, you know, that's where, you know, golf like really starts to connect. And it's like, it really is a black person sport. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's our game as well. So that's the presentation. I hope you
All right.
awesome. So,